Warning, spoilers ahead. Today, I'm going to recap a Korean romance movie released in 2019, called Tune In for Love. This melodrama movie tells the love story of two souls that met at a bakery in the 1990s. Their love evolves through different phases of their life, but fate keeps pulling them away from each other. Are they meant to be together? The story starts on a beautiful morning in 1994, with a high school student, Mi-soo, opening up her family bakery. Her parents have already passed away. Mi-soo runs the store with Eun-ja, a longtime employee that she already considers as her older sister. Honu comes into the bakery to look for any soy-based product, but the bakery doesn't have any, so Mi-soo tells him to go to a nearby supermarket. As he walks away to the supermarket, Mi-soo tells Eun-ja about the weird handsome boy who came to the store. They both see him from afar. Eun-ja thinks that he just came out of prison. But Mi-soo can't believe it because he is still young and wearing a high school uniform. A few days have passed, and Honu regularly hangs out in the bakery after his school. Mi-soo is so busy with the bakery, which makes her can't focus on the university entrance exam. It makes Eun-ja mad at her. Seeing both of them overwhelmed, Honu tells them that he dropped out of his school and will start helping them with the bakery. Mi-soo asks him if he just comes out of prison, but he doesn't want to talk about it. Seeing that he doesn't look like a bad guy, Eun-ja accepts his offer and welcomes him to the bakery. Their daily life at the bakery starts. At first, they aren't willing to open up to each other. When Mi-soo finds out that Honu was born in the same year as her, they start to talk more casually. They begin to talk about the bakery's history, Honu's experience at the juvenile detention center, and other persons them to leave the bakery. Honu left the bakery with them after asking Eun-ja to pay his salary in advance. As they ride away on a scooter, Mi-soo and Eun-ja see them silently, wondering if he will come back. Honu and his friend are commemorating the death of their best friend. Back in his school days, one of his best friends died in an accident while playing. The authorities blame Honu and his friends for the accident, making them end up in the juvenile detention center. Mi-soo keeps waiting for him to come back, but she never sees him again after that day. The story then jumps to 1997. Mi-soo just graduated from her university and got her first job as a newsletter editor. The bakery has been closed down, and Eun-ja is now running a small noodle shop. Honu works as a mover in the nearby area. One day, he drops some books in an old bookstore. The owner then asks him to bring his old mother back home because she can't see well at night. Mi-soo goes to her old bakery to see it for the last time before starting a new chapter in her life. They unexpectedly met again in front of the closed bakery after Honu left it and never returned in 1994. They are excited to see each other. Honu quickly takes the old lady back home and runs back to catch up with Mi-soo. He proudly tells her that he finished his GED after dropping out of high school. She invites him to Eun-ja's shop tomorrow, but Honu will start his military service. He then walks her back to her apartment. They both want to talk more to each other, but the awkward situation prevents them. Mi-soo is reluctant at first, but she finally plucks up the courage and invites Honu into her apartment for some beer and food. He ends up staying overnight there. They talk about what happened during the years, and Honu told Mi-soo that he got into a fight the night he left the bakery with his ex-schoolmates and his probation period got revoked, so he was sent back to juvenile detention. They enjoy the time catching up with each other from their own bed until they fall asleep. In the morning, Mi-soo boots up her brand new Windows 95 machine. She creates an email account for Honu so that they can keep in touch while Honu is in the military. She writes the email details on a piece of paper and gives it to Honu. Honu promises to see her after his military service is over. Before going their separate ways, he hugs Mi-soo and awkwardly kisses her. Later on her first day at work, Mi-soo realizes she forgot to give Honu the password to access his email account. Honu reads the paper and also wonders where the password to the email is. The days go on, and it's now the year 2000. While Honu is serving in the military, Mi-soo moves out of her apartment. When Honu goes back to the apartment to see her, no one is there anymore. However, Mi-soo keeps sending emails to the email account she created for Honu, although he does not have the password to access the account. Knowing that Mi-soo's old apartment is vacant, Honu rents it. In the process, he figures out the email password is the same as the lock code to the apartment door. He becomes excited when he sees Misu's emails and replies to her with his phone number for the first time. Misu is thrilled when she sees the email and can't stop thinking about it. Misu gives Honu a call that afternoon with her office phone, and they decide to talk again later after work to meet up. Honu is working at a fitness center now. But the business owner scammed their customer, so he was taken to the police station with the other workers, making him miss Misu's call. It's the job that his ex-schoolmates give him, which once again brings him away from Misu. As he tries to write an apology email to her, Misu sends him an email that tells him they should keep their distance. She is excited that he figures out the email password but doesn't feel it's the right time for them to meet up and hopes they will meet again sometime in the future when better things are happening to them. Another 5 years have passed, and it's now 2005. Misu is currently working as a writer at a small publishing company. Her boss is quite eccentric and seems to like her a bit. One day, a group of college students is doing a project in the office above hers. When they hold a meeting to celebrate his newly published book, she realizes that Honu is among those college students. It makes her fall into a roller coaster of emotion. Fate keeps pulling them apart, then reunites them out of nowhere. Honu asks her to follow him and shows her that he rents out her old apartment now. Misu takes 3 days off from work and enjoys catching up with Honu. This time, they are finally able to resolve the misunderstanding they had during the lost years. One thing leads to another. Honu musters up his courage and expresses his love to Misu. This time, it's not just an awkward kiss like the one before. Honu kisses Misu passionately as she prepares herself for the long night they are about to enjoy. They decide to bring their relationship to the next stage and become a couple, living their lives happily in that historic apartment and savoring their sweet slow life together, a reward for fighting the fate that keeps pulling them apart. They go to meet Eunja, but Misu is not ready to reveal their relationship to her. So Honu goes to meet her alone while Misu waits nearby. Eunja is shocked when she sees him. After more than 10 years, she is finally able to meet him again and remembers the good old days at the bakery. Eunja is now married and has a stepdaughter. But her stepdaughter keeps getting into trouble, making her life not easy. Suddenly a teenage girl comes and tells them to follow her. It turns out that Misu catches Eunja's stepdaughter smoking and scolds her. After that, they eat noodles at Eunja's shop and catch up with each other. It's the era of the digital camera now. They start to immortalize their lovely day with brand new technology at home and their office. One day, her boss is starting a new business. He wants to open a bakery class at a shop near Misu's old bakery, and he wants her to assist him with the project. But because of this, he closes down the project where Honu is working. One day, Honu's past life reappears and bothers him. It's the 10th year anniversary of his best friend's death. His ex-schoolmates force him to come along to that best friend's house to leave a sum of money in an envelope. The sister catches him while he is there, and she is still bitter with the fact that her brother can't live the normal life Honu is having now. When he goes back home, Honu accidentally leaves his phone in his ex-schoolmate's car. Misu is waiting for him as he is missing for the whole day. She calls the phone, and Honu's ex-schoolmate answers the call, then brings the phone back to her. Misu senses something is weird but keeps quiet and puts the phone back in their apartment secretly. Honu doesn't realize that his phone is missing and finds it in the apartment. Seeing it, Misu asks him where he went that day, but he lies about his whereabouts. Misu is now sure that Honu is hiding something, so she goes to Honu's ex-schoolmate to find the truth. She is then brought to the dead friend's family house, where she learns the bitter secret that Honu tries to hide. But the family has already moved away from there, and no one knows where they are now. At the dinner that night, Misu tries to bring up the topic vaguely. It shocks Honu as he doesn't expect her to know about it. The subject makes him slightly uncomfortable as he asks Misu how she can learn about it. She tells him the truth, but Honu becomes infuriated. He hoped that she would be the only one in the world who didn't know that dark past of him. As Honu rushes out of the apartment, Misu tries to hold him, but he still can't handle the situation and rushes out. That night, Honu got into a fistfight when he confronted his ex-schoolmate. He then goes to Eunja's shop to cool his head down. When Honu got back to his apartment, Misu had already left. Ever since that night, Honu had been looking everywhere for Misu. Honu goes to their old office and meets the boss. When Honu says he is looking for Misu, the boss annoyingly says that Misu needs a more cheerful man who can bring happiness. He then drives away. Honu chases the car and insists on following him to see Misu. The boss laughed it out and hit the gas. Honu keeps running behind the car, hoping that it will lead him to Misu. It turns out that Misu is at the new bakery that the boss recently opened. As she gets in the boss's car, she sees Honu running from afar. But she ignores him and drives away with her boss. Inside the car, Misu can't handle her emotions. Looking at her state, the boss pulls over the car so she can settle the situation with Honu once and for all. When he finally finds Misu after chasing after her, he tells her that he loves her. However, Misu pushes him away and tells him to stop running towards her because he would get hurt. That was the last time Misu and Honu met each other. Once again, fate seems to have a different plan for them. Later, Misu goes to Eunja to clear her mind. She eats donuts that Eunja made for her, reminding them of the good old days at the bakery. Eunja then tells her the night when Honu comes all busted after fighting with his ex-schoolmate. She doesn't know how to handle her feelings anymore. Some time has passed, and Honu is now working as a cameraman at a radio station. The radio host asks him if he has a message that he wants to broadcast on the radio for someone. Misu realizes that she is still in love with Honu after hearing the radio DJ mentioning her name, Kim Misu, as one of the names somebody has been missing. Misu knows straight away that it was Honu, so she runs towards the radio station to look for Honu. The movie ends with Misu finding Honu, while Honu captures this special moment using his camera. What is love but acceptance of the other, whatever he is?